in the low 90s. Afternoon rain possible each day. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
The Point.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk. Sports Talk Media Network. It's a Wednesday. It's Get Over the Hump Wednesday here on Sports Talk. I know that the plumber doesn't like that. He thinks it's too wordy. How about, I was going to come up with another name for it, Bergie. How about Hump Jump? How about it's a Wednesday hump jump because you're jumping over the hump, a hump jump.
It's just hump day, Phil. It's a traditional hump day.
That's been used. I'm trying to be fresh and creative. That's been used by so many people. Our job here, plumber, if you haven't figured it out, is to be creative on our own,
so
not
you go
copy.
with Get Over the Hump Wednesday?
Where else have you heard that?
Nowhere, because it's not a good name.
Well, it's ours. You know, Josh isn't a particularly good name, but it's yours, and you live with it.
Says the guy named Philip.
With one L. With one L. Welcome in. Great to have. What a show we got lined up for you tonight. Really excited. Bergie was over at Coastal practice today. They are off and running, indoors as it were, but off and running nonetheless, so we're looking forward to that. Over at South Carolina basketball today, got a chance to watch a little bit of that and visit with Lamont Paris along with the media. They're leaving in a couple of days for the Bahamas. What a great time to go to the Bahamas. Didn't know a single guy on the team. I mean, really, I didn't know a single guy on the team. It's an entirely new team, and there's a couple of guys back from last year, but you know what I mean. They got an entirely new team made up of internationals and one hotshot freshman coming in. Just one, right? One or two. I mean, it's an entirely new group for South Carolina basketball. One thing that he pointed out, these trips to the Bahamas, they've been good to him in his coaching career. When they were at Wisconsin, they made a trip to the Bahamas, and they went to the national championship game that year. When he was at Chattanooga, they did it, and that might have been the year they won the SoCon. Of course, a couple of years ago, when the Gamecocks had their best year under him, they went to the Bahamas. So maybe there's some magic dust down there for the Gamecocks in the Bahamas.
You know, it's interesting. I can remember a time, ancient times, you know, back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s when you were only allowed one international trip every 4 years. As you just pointed out, this would be their second in what, 3? Is that right?
4.
So it would be their second in 4.
Right, because let's see. Well, let me think. Last year was bad. 2 years ago was bad. 3 years ago was a really good year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's the one they went preseason to the Bahamas, correct?
I think so, yeah. So do we count this as the third or fourth year? I mean, I get your point, but there are no rules in basketball anymore.
No, that's sort of my point.
Yeah, there are no rules. Just go when you want to go and go where you want to go. I tell you, Sam Decker looks like he could still play. He was on the floor with them wearing number 54. He was working out, you know, playing with the guys, and of course, he's just recently retired from his professional career overseas, still in great basketball shape. So he is a guy that if he could get another year of eligibility, he could help. He could help the Gamecocks for sure. And by the way, Paris said he's not actively looking for any fifth-year guy, any recently approved fifth-year guy to come back to South Carolina. So they've got 15 on the roster right now.
Yeah, they don't need another spot filled. And Ryan Beard said basically the same thing. I asked him that question during his media availability, and you'll hear his answer a little bit later on. But that's basically what he said, too. We're confident in what we have. And I was talking to some of the Coastal administrators, and first off, they have been cautioned by their compliance office to basically just be patient. And they've told all the coaches, hey, just be patient. Let's see how this works out. So obviously football can't really be all that patient with their season starting. But they were under the impression, not the football staff, but the administrative staff, that once practice started today and once practice starts tomorrow for Clemson and then Friday for the Gamecocks, that roster is set. That's their team.
You're locked in.
And, yeah, they're locked in. And if they were to lose a player, i.e., if somebody just doesn't like the amount of playing time or gets hurt and wants to move on, give up football, they can't replace them. Because as someone pointed out to me, that would be an easy way for a coach to try and run somebody off if he knew there was an opportunity to bring somebody who just not fit.
Broadcast teams for this coming football season, and he has moved up in the echelon of play-by-play folks at ESPN. He's not at the top tier yet, but he's moved up to the better games. I mean, he's getting away from the Tuesday night Macness? Tuesday night Maction. Yeah, he's getting away. He's getting away from those. He's getting some of the better prime time, the more coveted games, I guess you could say, if you're
good for him.
A play-by-play guy. There are games that you covet, right? Well, he's getting more of those. He's going to join us at 7:05 to talk some football, but also talk about how he's gotten from where, I mean, he was a little old place kicker at AC Flora High School who went to Clemson as a Clemson fan and started a website when websites were just popping up here and there, somehow transitioned over to the broadcast side, and now has made a career out of it, and a great career that he's made out of it. So look forward to having him. Major Billy Downer with us tonight. It is another edition of SC Wild. A lot going on in the great outdoors, but the Major has a major announcement tonight. We'll let him make that announcement tonight, so stay tuned for that at 7:35, another edition of SC Wild with Major Billy Downer. You don't want to miss it. He's got big news to talk about. So we got a very busy show. If you want to join in, comment, question, analyze, criticize, though I can't think of anything to criticize. Plummer, can you think of anything on this show that is worth drawing criticism? What is one thing you would criticize, Plummer?
Not a single thing.
Oh, not even the hosts?
Nah.
Oh, what a charmer. The phone number is 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. Learn more about the lottery's impact at scheducationlottery.com/educationwins. And playing for fun is a win for education. Our text line, 803-900-4847, brought to you by Larry Lucas, State Farm Insurance, taking care of people across the state for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance. Switching is easy. Bundling can save you a lot of money. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com. Very easy. LarryLucasAgency.com or 803-799-1998. The Columbia line, 803-359-0770, the number in Lexington. Let's touch on a few of the top items of the day. Not a whole lot of news that I've run across today. Unfortunately, the top item I have is the funeral information for Jim Toman. Visitation will be held on August the 13th from 6 to 8 p.m., and the funeral service will be held on August 14th at 1 o'clock. Both of those will be at Dunbar Funeral Home, Divine Street in Columbia. Then a private burial will follow up in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. In lieu of flowers, the family is asking that memorial contributions may be made to the National Brain Tumor Society at braintumor.org, braintumor.org. All right, that's the news on that. Ran across a little item from The Athletic, already looking ahead to the 27 draft. And in this article, they ranked South Carolina's Jacarius Peak as the number 4 offensive tackle for the draft, but the number 1 offensive tackle in the senior class for this year. So if he gets healthy, if he gets fully healthy, the Gamecocks should have a pretty good wall there on the left side, Bertie. I think that offensive line here, I mean, we'll see how they perform in the preseason, who really steps up at center and solidifies that. And does Surratt continue to improve? Maybe he'll be the right tackle. Who's going to step in at those other positions? And they've got a chance to be better for two reasons. Number one, I think across the board they have better talent. And number two, I think in this offense, from what I understand, what we've heard from people like Chuck Reedy who know the offense, it's an offense that doesn't demand your offensive line to be dominant. It doesn't demand your offensive line to hold blocks for an extended amount of time. And it also relieves a lot of that pass blocking pressure off the offensive line for protecting the quarterback, who should be getting rid of the football. Sellers should be reading quicker and getting rid of the football quicker than he did last year.
I mean, Shane Beamer's pointed that out. He's been awfully blunt about the fact, the offensive line was not very good, but I'm going to deflect some of the criticism to, sometimes 16 hangs onto the football too long. Sometimes the running backs fail to pick up blocks. Now, you can take that as a coach trying to protect his offensive line. I get that. I think that's probably a good idea on his part. They were bad last year. There's just no other way around it. They cannot be any worse. So I think you're right. And the new offense, where maybe the scheme is a little bit different and does not require them to hang on to their blocks and hold them for 3, 4, 5 seconds, I think obviously will help them out considerably. But on the flip side, you got to get some help from your quarterback and your running backs too.
Yeah, running backs got to pick up those blitzes and all that kind of good stuff. Now over to Clemson. Of course, tomorrow we've got Dabo Swinney and Shane Beamer, both in the afternoon. We're going to be covering both of those. We're going to be introducing a new young man up at Clemson who is going to be helping us cover the Tigers. Of course, we've always had David Hood and Nicky Hood and Grayson Mann. They all work with TigerNet, and they're busy with TigerNet. I wanted somebody who was a little bit freer, who could really focus on us when covering an event. And this young man is a recent Clemson graduate who has worked with TigerNet, but he is not as tied in with them and is free to focus on us when covering a press conference or a game. His name is Nick Painter. You might have seen his writing if you read TigerNet. And so Nick will be helping us cover Clemson when we can't get up there physically to cover a press conference or a ball game. So he'll be covering the Dabo Swinney press conference for us tomorrow, and then going out to watch practice. He'll be posting everything on our X account, SC Sports Now, SC Sports Now, and on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. I'll be over at South Carolina tomorrow afternoon for Shane Beamer, and tomorrow is when they have the local press day. So they bring in Shane Beamer, and then after he wraps up, they bring in every assistant coach and sit them down at a table, and I think you have about 30 minutes to roam and talk to every assistant coach. Then when they're done, they bring in, I believe, almost every player, offense and defense, two different segments. Maybe not everyone, but I guess, the more veteran players, the ones who are going to be playing, those guys, they bring them in, they sit them down around the tables. You got a chance to roam around and talk to each one of them. I mean, it's like water everywhere, but not a drop to drink, or some version of that, because you got so much, you get paralysis by analysis. Like, okay, who am I going to talk to next? Who am I going to talk to next? And you kind of just freeze up. How much can you ask these guys? Plus, once they start practice, which is Friday, then next week they're going to have Beamer every Tuesday and players every Tuesday, and then coordinators or assistant coaches on Wednesday once you're in practice, which is really the more important stuff than what you're going to get tomorrow. So be loads and loads of stuff coming out of both places over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, what's going to be new that you can ask Lenore Sellers, because I'm guessing one or two media members will go over and talk to him. What's different than what he told us at SEC Media Days, 10 days ago? I mean, not a lot has changed. This is why I think the way that Clemson does it with their local media thing right before ACC Media Days, from a local, from a South Carolina-based perspective, I think actually works out a lot better, because when we go up there, you get a chance to ask questions before the national media gets to ask those same questions. So I think you get a lot of cool answers, but it's similar. The only thing Clemson doesn't do with their local media day is they do not make the players available, because I'm trying to remember. I'm not even sure they're all back on campus during that week.
I don't think so,
ACC media
because that's
days.
early. Yeah. That's
so
early.
that may be part of it. So obviously Carolina's got the guys back because they open practice, but that's the only difference. But yeah, I like these opportunities. You just you just wish they weren't coming directly on the heels of us visiting with them at SEC media days already.
Yeah. Well, this time of year, though, you can't have enough, if you ask me.
Yeah, probably not.
And the fans want as much as they can get. They want more and more. On top of all this, the good old ACC today sent out the date for the ACC basketball tip-off, which is going to be October the 5th. So here it is. It's only August the 5th, and we know that the ACC tip-off in Charlotte is going to be October the 5th. So make your plans. All right.
This is the same league that waits until the week after its ACC kickoff to release its preseason poll and all conference players, but has no problem releasing the save the date 2 months before basketball practice begins.
Yeah, really.
You can see where their priorities are.
All right, just seeing this story as soon as it loads up in my computer. Why did I get an error, Plumber, that says error 503, service unavailable? I mean, aren't you a computer? The headline, this is from the State. Former Clemson guard, looks like it's Dylan Hunter, gets 5th year of eligibility. Could he return to the Tigers? Have you seen that story?
He's part, and R.J. Godfrey, I think, is part of this, too. This was a lawsuit or some sort of suit that was filed in Georgia. I guess another judge has granted the injunction against the NCAA. And so, as Chapel Fowler points out, for what it's worth, and something you touched on the other night, the Tigers do have an empty slot on their roster. So Dylan Hunter makes a lot of sense. R.J. Godfrey, we know, is already going to Arizona. So he's not going to be the guy. But I don't see any reason why, if Dylan is interested, I can't imagine that Brad Brownell would say, no, we don't need you.
Well, let's take a look at the roster. I mean, first of all, he hasn't been with the team all off season, so that's one thing. I mean, they've got, I'm just looking at the players that would be in the backcourt. They've got Cole Serta, 6'5". They've got Ace Buckner, 6'3". They've got Zach Foster coming back, 6'3". They've got Harris Reynolds and Amari James, both 6'5". Reynolds put on a really good show the other day.
He did.
I mean, where are you going to play him? I mean, he is a point guard, I guess. I guess he is a pure point guard, but I think Buckner, they were planning on Buckner to be their point guard. Is he better than Buckner now? I mean, Buckner came on last season and played really good basketball for him. Do you take a guy and risk messing up your rhythm, your routine? Then again, he is a former player, and he knows a lot of these guys. They might welcome him back with open arms.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Phil. His value to the team, I mean, he's played basically his whole career under Brad Brownell. So if anybody knows the style of play that Brad Brownell wants, now we understand, we didn't see a lot of it, maybe in their final game, that they want to extend the way they play and maybe be a little more up-tempo. But if anybody on that team, even if he doesn't play, more than about 10 minutes a game, I think his knowledge of the way Coach Brownell does things could be invaluable to that team, especially with the newcomers that they brought in.
I tell you, it was strange being at Gamecock practice today. It was strange. I mean, not knowing hardly a single player. I mean, nobody there was a major contributor last season in terms of minutes or points or anything. I mean, it's like a ghost team out there as far as knowing them. And the job of that coaching staff is taking a bunch of strangers and making them comrades, making them teammates, making them play well together. And how do you do that, really? I guess it can happen. But how do you do that in such a short amount of time? You get guys to gel together, know each other's moves. I mean, sometimes it used to take 1 or 2 years for players. Basketball was a lot of not talking, but knowing where the guy's going to be moving just by his body language, knowing the system extremely well. These guys are all new to one another, and they're all new to the system, This is a definitely in the dark kind of team as far as knowing how they're going to play and how well they're going to play together, I would say.
Oh, there's no doubt. I don't envy coaches basketball. It seems like this is a situation. I know we talk about football, and Ryan Beard touched on the fact that Coastal, I think, brought in 50 newcomers, whether it be incoming freshmen or transfers and the like. So, I mean, football's going through it to some degree, but I think basketball, with the complete overhaul, especially that Lamar Paris has gone through the last couple of years, it's hard to build team chemistry. And I think that may be why he referenced, the Bahamas trip was so big for them a couple of seasons ago, because this gives them an opportunity to get away together off of campus for about a week, go play some games. The outcome of the games is irrelevant. But the fact that they'll be able to play together and he'll be able to run out, different lineups and different combinations and some exhibitions, I think will help them out considerably. But you're right. It's I won't say impossible, but it seems like it's nearly impossible to build the kind of chemistry that you once had with a basketball team when the guys came in together as freshmen and graduated together as seniors.
I'll tell you what, as we go to the break here, this new world of college athletics has made us all rethink philosophies. Can you remember? It used to be you can't put an offensive line together, in 1 year. It takes 2 or 3 years for these guys to play. You can't play a freshman quarterback in big-time college. You can't play a rookie quarterback in the NFL. They need time to season, 2 or 3 years. All that's been blown out of the water. Okay, we'll be right back.
Earned history. Chased glory. Lived consequences. 500 miles against the Lady in Black. A NASCAR Crown Jewel Too Tough to Tame Labor Day Weekend Classic. The Cookout Southern 500. The chase for the next NASCAR Cup Series champion starts here. The NASCAR Chase Weekend at Darlington Raceway, September 5th through 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you, I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
Hey, shout out to Florence Post 1, American Legion Baseball. Tell us about it, Bergie.
Yeah, they won 6-3 today. I believe this was their opener, the Southeast Regional. They defeated Chesapeake Seals Post 280. Now, if these young men that are on the Chesapeake team, if they're actually getting into the Navy SEAL program, props to them. That's a heck of a win for Florence to beat up on 9 SEALs in a ball game. But, yeah, 6-3, the final score.
Florence scored 4 in the first. Newt Henson hit a 3-run homer. B.W. Berry and James Wyatt Arthur added RBI hits later. B.W. Berry, I don't know if he's from Latta. There was a Berry that played for Latta, was key to their state championship. That could be him, but I'm not sure. Brandon Anderson allowed no runs in 5 innings, only 2 hits.
Wow.
And they will play tomorrow night, 7:30, against the winner of Jacksonville, Florida, against, it's not Cherryville, it's Cherville?
It's in Cherville.
It's in Cherville. Cherville.
Lincolnton, my hometown, is about 15 minutes from Cherville. It is spelled like Cherryville, but the locals do not pronounce the L. It's sort of like Clinton. There's a T in there, but it's not pronounced in Clinton.
Gotcha.
And, yeah.
If you want to keep up with this, they have a Facebook page, Florence Post 1 American Legion Baseball. And you can keep up with their progress. So they win today, and we'll keep an eye on it moving forward.
And props to you, Phil. B.W. Berry is from Latta. Played at Atlanta High School. He's a senior.
Yeah, I think he was the pitcher in that state championship game win over McBee, the Rick Henry.
6'3", 225. Good size young fella.
It's a big dude. Okay, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Look for cloudy skies this evening. Rain is a possibility. The low dips down to 74. Tomorrow's just like today. More clouds than sunshine. Muggy with a high of 91. We have that continuing 40% chance we get afternoon and early evening storms. Friday and Saturday about the same. Highs in the low 90s. Afternoon rain possible each day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Earned history. Chased glory. Lived consequences. 500 miles against the Lady in Black. A NASCAR Crown Jewel Too Tough to Tame Labor Day Weekend Classic. The Cookout Southern 500. The chase for the next NASCAR Cup Series champion starts here. The NASCAR Chase Weekend at Darlington Raceway, September 5th through 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The state of New Mexico has sued the Department of Justice and Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, saying the federal government has blocked it from carrying out its own investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's sex crimes. The lawsuit was filed in federal court in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. Abdul El-Sayed has won Michigan's Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate in a victory for the party's leftist progressive wing in a battleground state. El-Sayed narrowly defeated Congresswoman Haley Stevens and will face Republican Mike Rogers in November. The seat is pivotal to Democrats' chances of flipping the Senate. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 263 points. The Nasdaq dropped 221, with the S&P 500 declining by 12 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you tired of that dripping faucet driving you crazy? Is your drain doing more of a gurgle than a flow? Don't despair. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is here to save your day. Serving our community as locally owned plumbing experts, Franklin Plumbing tackles everything from minor leaks to major clogs. And we're talking fast, friendly, reliable service. They respect your home. They respect your wallet. Josh and his team offer upfront pricing, and that's important. This team I'm talking about, they're fully licensed. They're insured technicians. They're ready for any plumbing crisis that you might encounter. Whether it's routine maintenance, a stubborn blockage, or a total plumbing overhaul, they'll get the job done right the first time. They've been out to my home, my brother's home, even his business. I'm comfortable, very comfortable, bragging on Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Stop letting plumbing problems disrupt your life. Call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning today and experience the difference that true expertise makes. Visit the website, franklinplumbing.sc.com, or give them a call, 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee-Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
South Carolina summers are hot and humid and hard on your air conditioner. When your home stops feeling comfortable, call Sweet Comfort Services. We're family owned and operated with over 30 years of heating and air experience. From service and maintenance to complete system replacement, we're here to keep your family cool. We'll even meet or beat any quote from a licensed competitor. Schedule your appointment online at sweethvac.com or call 803-331-8143. Sweet Comfort Services, comfort you can count on.
I'm Darlene Graham, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message. July 11th, I lost my brother, my rock, and South Carolina lost a great leader. If I could trade this moment to have Lindsey back, even for a minute, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I can't. Soon after he passed, I was asked to continue the work he loved. After a lot of prayer and with the encouragement of so many, including President Trump, I said yes. I can't replace Lindsey. What I can do is carry forward the values we grew up with, faith, service, and hard work. I'm a conservative Republican. I'll bring my own life experiences, my own voice, and my own priorities. I know every life is precious, prices are too high, and men don't belong in women's sports. I may be new to the job, but I'm ready to serve, and I'll never stop fighting for the people of South Carolina.
Paid for by NRSC.
We are back on Sports Talk. Here on the Sports Talk Media Network across the states. Don't forget to follow us on our YouTube channel, Sports Talk Media Network. Follow us on our Facebook page, which is Sports Talk Media Network. Follow us on our X page, which is SC Sports Now. Check out the website, SportsTalkSC.com. And, of course, tune us in on one of the great radio stations across the state of South Carolina. Great group of folks carrying the program all across the state of South Carolina. I appreciate them greatly. So let's go football. Let's go Coastal Carolina. Let's go Shants. Let's go Teal Nation as they began practice today. Bergie, forced indoors because of the rain and everything down there, the weather. But, expectations are among the fan base is running high. Are those legit? Should the fan base of Coastal be legitimately excited about what could happen this season?
I think so, but again, you don't know. It's the same conversation we've had around Clemson with their quarterback position, and same conversation we've had about South Carolina. Gamecocks look like they've got a lot of talent, but can they navigate that schedule and go win 8-9 ball games? We don't know. Same thing here with Coastal. I think, watching them play, you can see they are bigger, they are more athletic by far, and especially at the quarterback position, they've got some guys I think can really do some good things for them. But again, it was day one, and Ryan Beard is quick to caution everybody. It's really hard. He'll talk about being sort of an old school coach that football is played in pads and helmets. So, when you go out in just helmets and shorts, it's a little more difficult. But you're right, they had to go inside their relatively new indoor practice facility because it was raining all morning and muggy day, but they got a lot of work done. And afterwards, their first-year head coach Ryan Beard, sat down to visit with the media and answer all the important questions involving Coastal football.
First day is always exciting. I genuinely love fall camp, and specifically the first day, because like I told the team, it's the first time that you can actually emulate the anxiety that comes with game one. It's the first practice. They've had time to go home and think about, how am I going to get this starting spot? What can I do to put myself in a position to be that starter? And I think everything in camp is about building your habits. How do you eat? How do you sleep? What is your process before practice to get ready to go so that you can excel for those 2-ish hours where we're on the field really getting after it? I thought we came out intentionally. I thought we were focused. I thought we had great effort. Now, the execution, it's never going to be where you want it on day one. We haven't got a chance to watch the film yet, but it's never as good, never as bad. And if you build a foundation of where you enjoy practice, you work hard, and you're efficient. When I talk about efficiency, it's getting in and out of huddles, sprinting on and off the field, understanding when you're between those lines, we are playing the style of football that represents the Chanticleers. And I think we are developing that. I think we're doing a good job of that. Got to continue to grow in every single aspect, but day one was exactly what you want.
Coach, from a quarterback situation, how do you handle the battle? I mean, obviously you're not going to announce anything until you step on the field at West Virginia. But having 5 quarterbacks, probably maybe 3 that you're really looking at, how are you handling that situation, that competition?
I want to start with saying how proud I am of the group itself. I met with those guys as a group before we entered fall camp and just told them really what we're looking for. We're looking for consistency and the ability to manage the offense. The guys that take care of the football, get us in and out of advantage checks. And we told them that you're going to get reps to either move up the depth chart or down the depth chart. And I think that's only fair. When you have such a talented room like that, you have to be an objective evaluator. You can't go off emotional decisions. Obviously, once you move forward in camp, you're going to have a guy step forward that the team really rallies around. But until that point, we're going to continue to rotate them with 1s, 2s, 3s, let them work with different groups because I think that also helps the wide receivers, the running backs, the O-line be able to understand just because you're hearing a different voice, your standard remains the same. So I'm excited to see who kind of steps forward and to give you a timeline, whether it's tomorrow, whether we run 2 quarterbacks out versus West Virginia. I don't know, but I'll be the first to tell you when we do know.
What would be the determining factor that would separate your starter from the other guys?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about consistency. Again, like I said, taking care of the football, making good decisions, because I'm of the belief that just manage the game, distribute the ball the way it needs to be distributed, and just don't lose the game. A lot of times quarterbacks feel the need to to push throws or do too much themselves. Let the guys work around you and understand that we're going to have a solid, productive defense and that you don't have to win shootouts. Obviously, it's nice sometimes you have to, but just the understanding of who has the best overall knowledge of the entire offense itself and who knows how to lead.
Speaking of the rosters, the federal judge's order on Friday allowing the freshmen from 2022 to have an additional year of eligibility. Is that something, first off, you guys have looked at, possibly bringing someone back who was on the team last year? And secondly, would it have been more helpful for football programs in general to have had that order come out, say, in April?
Yeah, it was interesting timing for it. But again, we try to do the best we can to kind of navigate once rules come out. Again, I've talked to you about it at length, having a young, vibrant staff that understands rules and is still, eager learners. I think we're navigating that very, very well with the support of our administration. Chance Miller is as smart as they get, so we have had those conversations and we'll continue to navigate that and, go about our business the right way. I don't know, to answer your question more straightforward, I don't know if we'll have any additions or anything like that, but we'll let that play out.
Can you, with the roster limits, or is your team pretty much set at 105?
Yeah, our team's pretty well set. I really like the current roster. I'm excited about who we have in the building, and I think we have a damn good football team.
Ooh, Bergie dominating the press conference, or is it? Did you just pick out your own questions?
Exactly. Not that the other folks didn't ask really, really interesting questions, but I did want to get his comments on the federal ruling from last week. And you asked the question before we played his audio. Should Chanticleer fans be excited about this football team? Well, I think that last comment sort of tells you Coach is. Yeah. He believes he's got a solid squad. And that quarterback battle between guys like Deuce Bailey, who's a transfer from Missouri State, so came with Coach Beard and his staff. He might actually have a leg up just because he knows and understands the offense that Coach Petrino wants to run. Then you've got Trey Guerra, who's a junior college guy who was supposed to be one of the top quarterbacks at the JC level last year. They're really high on a freshman, Osiris Lopez. Mm-hmm. And then Trevor Jackson, who was on the Arkansas roster. And, Phil, if you see him, he's 6'3", 215. And when he steps onto the field, he looks like a big-time quarterback. I mean, he's got the perfect build. I saw him make a pass today. He threw one from the left hash mark all the way across the field to the other sideline on a dime. And I think the one thing they're trying to work with him, because he's got all the tools, is just his consistency. So they've got four guys I think they feel really confident in, and now it's going to be Coach Beard and Coach Petrino's job to try and figure out which one leads that offense the best. And you heard Coach Beard basically say it's going to be a guy who takes care of the football and doesn't lose games for them. He doesn't have to go win it, just don't lose it.
Well, if you like that little taste of Ryan Beard, stay tuned on Friday. We kick off this year's Palmetto Pigskin Tour at Coastal Carolina. Yes, we break tradition. Was not able to line up South Carolina State for this week, our normal first stop. Hopefully get them next week. So we'll be at Coastal Carolina on Friday night. We'll have the coach with us, 7:05, a couple of players with us at 7:20. Love the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. Love crossing the state, talking to the coaches, meeting the players, and bringing all that to you to help you stay in the proper frame of mind for college football as we are still in talking season, preseason, because there's a lot of press conferences. There's a lot of talking going on, which leads me to one more thought before we hit the break. I was thinking about Clemson today. I had Clemson on the mind today. I think Clemson, because of what everybody's been saying, because where they were ranked in the ACC preseason poll, because of where they were ranked by the coaches, I really believe in my heart of hearts, Bergie, that they'll be the surprise of the ACC, maybe the surprise of college football. Huh? Thank you.
I'm not laughing at your.
No, you can laugh away. Feel free to laugh away.
No. My point, my chuckle is the fact that we would ever consider Clemson a surprise.
Exactly.
In a positive surprise. Now, last year I think was somewhat of a surprise for Clemson, but it was in the negative way. They weren't as good as we thought they were going to be. So, yeah, to see them as a surprise in the league, and again, as we broke it down, their schedule a couple of days ago, they figure out a way to navigate around Miami. They've got a good chance to be in the ACC title game. I don't see any reason why they can't.
Nobody else on that schedule they can't beat. They can beat Miami.
Correct.
They get them at home. But they'll be an underdog, but there's nobody else. And you know what? I want somebody to pull me back here, but I'm starting to feel something about Clemson and LSU. Let me ask you this. Let me throw a few let's do a little Q&A here, you and me, okay? Nobody else, just you and me. A quick Q&A, all right? Between Dabo Swinney and Lane Kiffin, which one has won a national championship?
That would be Dabo.
Between Lane Kiffin and Dabo Swinney, which one has won a conference championship?
That would also be Dabo Swinney.
Between Clemson and LSU, which one has – well, no, I can't say that. That'd be LSU. My point is – I was going to say –
the most recent national championship.
Yeah, that would have been LSU.
It would be LSU.
Beating Clemson. My point is everybody thinks that Lane Kiffin walks on water. They really do. And everybody, the big mouths in the national media, they love Lane Kiffin, and they're piling on Dabo Swinney. When you put the two resumes side by side, and they're not even comparable. They're not comparable. I mean, Dabo Swinney is he's done so much more than Lane Kiffin. You might say, well, Lane Kiffin's been in the SEC. Big deal. Dabo Swinney is one where he's had to win. And everybody thinks Lane Kiffin's going to walk in and just magically turn around a 7-6 LSU team from last year that will have a brand new quarterback coming off an injury, a guy 2 years ago who did lead his team to the playoffs, but he was hurt last year, and now he's at LSU. And, I mean, I know LSU, like Clemson, recruits well. They both recruit well. So I was thinking about this. I'm thinking, why are we so down on Clemson? I say we, the people in general. I think we're mistaken. I'm starting to think upset possibility. I'm starting to put that game on upset alert in my mind. And I have had orange Kool-Aid. I'm thinking, why? I mean, Clemson's got really good players. And they've got the better – when you look at it, I don't know about the Arizona State quarterback. I don't know about the Clemson quarterback. A wash.
Right.
Now, you would look at, the two histories and lean towards Leavitt. But still, he's coming off an injury. But they say he's healthy. Vizina might be one of those kids that's just going to shock you. It might say, listen, I've heard all the crap about me. I'll show it to you and go out and win the job. Or Tate Reynolds might be so talented you can't keep him off the field. We'll find out. I give Clemson the edge at wide receiver. I don't give them the edge at running back, but they're not bad at running back. Defensively, I think Clemson's going to be vastly improved. You talk about South Carolina being vastly improved on offense because of the coaching changes and everything else. Clemson's going to be vastly improved on defense with the personnel moves they've made in the secondary, with some of the coaching moves they've made back on the back end, coaching the secondary. And I think they'll get a better effort from guys up front who aren't considered number one draft picks, and the guys who were considered number one draft picks, who actually became number one draft picks, who played for them last year but really didn't give them the effort. I think they'll get a better effort up front defensively. And they've got
crazy to think that
one more thing. They've got a terrific place kicker. Hoosier can knock it in from 55.
True.
So why not Clemson?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a fair question. I still don't see them going to LSU and winning that game. But, no, outside of that, the Miami game, I don't really see a team on their schedule they should not beat.
I want you to talk me out of it. But right now, I'm starting to think, and that's a dangerous thing when I start to think. All right, let's run to the break. We'll come back and do a little Gamecock basketball with Lamont Paris, who talked to the media today over at the Carolina Coliseum. God, every time I'm in that building, I'm like, what a shame. Bergie, you were there. You were in that building.
Awesome place.
What a shame.
I had a class there last semester.
See what I mean?
There was a rat.
What a shame.
Class?
What a shame.
Earned history. Chased glory. Lived consequences. 500 miles against the Lady in Black. A NASCAR Crown Jewel Too Tough to Tame Labor Day Weekend Classic. The Cookout Southern 500. The chase for the next NASCAR Cup Series champion starts here. The NASCAR Chase Weekend at Darlington Raceway, September 5th through 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
Gas prices might be high, but your auto loan rate doesn't have to be. Beat your current auto loan rate by 2% when you refinance with Founders Federal Credit Union. Plus, make no payments for up to 90 days. That's right, save money with a great rate and make no payments for up to 90 days. Let a Founders representative be your trusted advisor to help make the refinance process quick and easy. Don't forget to ask for a free auto insurance quote to protect your purchase. Founders also offers mechanical breakdown protection that's competitive with most warranty plans available at dealerships. Stop by an office or apply on the Founders app today. To learn more, visit foundersfcu.com/auto. Not a Founders member yet? Visit the Founders website to see if you qualify for membership. For additional cost information, call us toll-free 800-845-1614. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Looking for thrills? Then welcome to the South Carolina Education Lottery, where excitement's the name of the game, and every chance at a win
Just one more. Come on, so close.
comes with the chance of a whiff.
Well, no biggie.
Nicely done. You handled it like a pro. Because when the stakes start getting too real and you find yourself playing for more than fun, it might be time to take a break.
Good point.
Playing for fun makes you a better player, and a better player is a better you. Learn more at SCEducationLottery.com.
Effective training is not just about lifting heavier weight. It is about producing force with control. The Tsunami Bar was developed in 2012 to enhance high-intensity workouts while helping reduce joint stress. Its flexible design creates controlled oscillation, requiring your muscles to stabilize and work together throughout each movement. This promotes greater muscle activation, improved balance, and stronger functional performance. Tsunami Bar Sports is committed to continuous improvement, delivering dynamic training tools for individuals at every fitness level. Whether you are focused on long-term strength, injury prevention, or improving rotational stability for sports like golf, Tsunami Bar training supports total body performance. Discover more at TsunamiBarSports.com. Visit TsunamiBarSports.com. That's TsunamiBarSports.com.
This is Major Billy Downer with the Department of Natural Resources, and I've got a message for all of our hunters out there. When you go afield, always make sure to positively identify your target. Know the identifying features of the game you're hunting, and know what's beyond your target in case you miss. If you want more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov or join us on Wednesday nights for SC Wild.
You can listen to SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network or at dnr.sc.gov/podcasts.
All right, the Clemson basketball team, Arrivederci, just got back from Italy, or heading back from Italy. South Carolina team will be leaving, I guess maybe tomorrow. I think they play like Friday in the Bahamas. Here is Coach Lamont Paris talking with the media earlier today about his team and the importance of this trip for his team with a bunch of newcomers, how important it is for them to have a chance to play, everybody get a chance to play against another team and start figuring things out.
Yeah, this is, I think this will be the fourth one of these I've been on in my career, and so the track record has been pretty good on those so far. Obviously, our trip here, we had a really good season after that. I think 1 year in Wisconsin, I think 2015, we went on a trip. We ended up going to the national championship game, and then my last year in Chat in 2022, we did the Bahamas also, and won the league and won the league championship in the conference tournament in that one. So I just think it allows these guys just some more time to get to know one another, and you get these 10 practices that lead up into the trip. To the players, the juice is in the games. To the coaches, the juice is in everything outside of the games. The games are just a little carrot to hang out there so that the guys enjoy themselves and have fun. But there's a lot of room for bonding and growth as a unit. This is a team game still, so I think these things are always really important when you have the opportunity to do it. So we're extremely grateful to our administration and all the people and boosters around that were able to help us get the opportunity to get down there, especially with so many new faces. I think it's even it's exaggerated even more how important it is to be able to do this.
I think I got a head count. Is everybody here? For the team?
Yeah, everybody's here. Yep.
Lamont, what's the main thing you've learned about this team during these practices?
I'm still just learning. I'm taking it all in and just trying to put guys in positions to challenge themselves and to learn from one another. So, we're still just taking it all in ourselves. But a lot of it was just we did a lot of playing. We did a lot of 5-on-5 stuff. A couple basic principles that we got in terms of how we want to play offensively and defensively, and then just let the guys play. So that was the biggest thing. There's no depth chart. There's no, we really don't get into it that way. We just want guys to familiarize themselves with one another, and then with some basic generalities in terms of what we want to try to get done on either side of the ball.
Last time we spoke to you, the international guys hadn't come in yet. What have you seen from those guys since their arrival?
Yeah, it's been good. Most of the international guys have been here a shorter amount of time. A couple of them played with their national team over the summer, which I always think is an important thing if they're selected to do that. And so a couple of those guys did that, so they got here a little bit later. So they've had a smaller window. In fact, 3 of them have only practiced in these 10 practices. A couple of them were here taking classes and were able to do some of the individual workouts. But just getting them acclimated to what it is to be in this country long term, and then on top of that, they're trying to get used to a whole new team of teammates, and some of them playing college basketball for the first time. So I think that's why the value in this time is it's extremely valuable time for us.
Team chemistry, and down there you'll have the games and the practice and all, but will there be any team activities for the guys to hang out, or do you kind of let that happen naturally?
Some of it will happen naturally. It's a different world. So we did this trip before, and we had one day where they had nothing to do, that they had no responsibilities. We'll have another day like that down there where they'll have no responsibilities with us, but there's these other things cooked into it now, just with some of the other things that are going on. But they'll have plenty of time down there to just hang out and be young people doing the things that they do, enjoying and having fun with one another. And so hopefully not too much of that is spent on the blackjack tables, because oftentimes that's what the guys end up doing down here.
You got plenty of time, but
Sorry. What will be the main priorities for you guys, aside from building chemistry and whatnot, when you guys are on the court for those 2 games?
Really, honestly, for me, that'll be it. The main priority will be go out there, compete, have fun, share the ball, and don't get hurt. If all those things happen, it'll be an unbelievable success. I won't be looking at the score. I won't be looking at, we might win by 100, we might lose by 10, I don't know, but it'll be compete with one another as a unit, share the ball, have fun, enjoy whatever it is that you're doing together, cheer for your guys.
All right, Lamont Paris from earlier today. You can catch it all up on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. Also, of course, it's up in podcast form, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can find it all there if you haven't had a chance to see it or hear it. Roy Philpott coming up after the break.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Caswell County Sheriff Tony Durden says 3 people, including a suspect, are dead in a shooting at a house in Prospect Hill, North Carolina. The sheriff says all the victims were adult members of the same family.
Deputies arrived on scene, found multiple people who had been shot. I can confirm 4 people were shot. Three of them are deceased. 1 person was transported to Duke University Hospital with gunshot wounds.
Investigators are on scene conducting interviews. The state of New Mexico has sued the Department of Justice and Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres says they're seeking intervention from a judge in Washington, D.C., saying Blanche is stonewalling their criminal investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's activities at the Zorro Ranch.
We have been forced to file an action against the United States Department of Justice and Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche for their continued refusal to provide unrestricted and unredacted access to the complete Epstein file.
The Justice Department said it was withholding some information from New Mexico to protect victims' privacy and conform with court rulings about evidence. Abdul El Sayed has won Michigan's Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate in a victory for the party's leftist progressive wing in a battleground state. El Sayed narrowly defeated Congresswoman Haley Stevens and will face Republican Mike Rogers in November's election. A mixed day on Wall Street with the Dow up by 263 points, the Nasdaq dropping 221 with the S&P 500 lower by 12, oil near $75 a barrel. More at townhall.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Clear blue skies don't always mean smooth flying.
It appears extreme heat could also disrupt flights. American Airlines recently offered compensation to customers who voluntarily gave up their seats after temperatures reached 114 degrees Fahrenheit in Las Vegas. Aviation experts say air becomes thinner when it's extremely hot, and that makes it harder for airplanes to take off safely. Heat-related challenges can also affect airports with shorter runways or at higher elevations when the weather isn't that severe. John Scott reporting.
It's not clear why a plane was allowed to take off as President Trump's helicopter was approaching Reagan National Airport in an apparent violation of safety procedures put in place after last year's mid-air collision between an airliner and an Army helicopter near that busy Washington, D.C. airport. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Look for cloudy skies this evening. Rain is a possibility. The low dips down to 74. Tomorrow's just like today. More clouds than sunshine. Muggy with a high of 91. We have that continuing 40% chance we get afternoon and early evening storms. Friday and Saturday about the same. Highs in the low 90s. Afternoon rain possible each day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point.
Make thepointradio.com. The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good to have you with us here on this Wednesday night edition of Sports Talk across the state. Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the plumber, Josh Cohen, coming to you from Columbia and over in Sardis. Great to have you with us. Bottom of the hour, Major Billy Downer will be here. It's DNR night. It's SC Wild night. Major Downer with a major announcement coming up tonight. You want to tune in for that. Stay tuned for that. Some recruiting coming up in just a few minutes as well. And I mentioned that because our next guest is a guy who used to dabble in the recruiting side of things before his star rose and he hit the big time. And as I mentioned earlier, talking with Bergie, always impressed with people who work their way up from nothing to become something pretty special and pretty big. If you saw the lineup for ESPN's telecast coming up this season, you saw the name Roy Philpott moving on up, as they say, and having some of the better games this year. We'll have some of the better games this year on ESPN. Longtime friend, knew him before he became something. He was always something in his family, of course, little place kicker at AC Flora. We welcome Roy Philpott to Sports Talk. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Corn, I'm doing well. I was excited to get your text. It's been many years since I've been on Sports Talk, but it all kind of got started here back in the day. The Insiders Report. I mean, we're talking 20-something years ago. We would come on this show weekly and debate, and those were some good times. Those were some fun times. So yeah, I appreciate the invitation, and it's good to be on Sports Talk again, my friend.
Well, I'm so happy for you. You've done a fantastic job. And, I mean, I can remember the days of the press conferences at Clemson with you and little old Jane Robelo. And I don't think either one of you knew how to operate a tape recorder. And, to see where the two of you, ended up, of course, she on CBS and you're on ESPN. And how'd you get to where you are now? Tell us a little bit, the short story on how you got from there to here.
Well, there's a friend of mine that was in the coaching business that I've stolen a line from him that I really have grown fond of. And he talks to coaches all the time, and I talk to coaches. And when I see a coach that didn't skip any steps, you know what I mean? When I see a coach that maybe started at Chattanooga, and then went to Wisconsin, and then when it ended up at South Carolina, wherever it may be, just where they work their way up the ranks, I've got great respect for that because, I did. I started at the bottom. I started out as a website developer, as a programmer, as a computer engineer, then as a writer, and then as a radio broadcaster. And the first game I ever called was over at Clemson, a volleyball match. I want to say, Corn, probably in 2008 on the old ACC Select, and I got a request to do it either from Rick Bagby or Chad Lampman. They said, hey, can you come call this game? And I walked into Jervy Gym at the time and just felt the energy of 1,000 or 1,500 fans packed in that little tiny house and called a volleyball match, not really knowing what I was doing. And at that point I was, kind of a website writer and, occasional contributor on radio. But I put down the microphone that day and I was like, I thought I was going to be a computer engineering, a programmer, a project manager out of college. I was wrong. I thought I was going to be a writer and a website developer, maybe an occasional, radio hit here or there. And, I was wrong. And I knew right then, I was like, this is kind of what I'm supposed to do. And, to quote Dabo Sweeney, I went all in, all the chips pushed in the middle of the table to try to get as many play-by-play opportunities as I could. And, it took me a while. As you know, it took me 5 or 6 years to start doing anything. And, finally sent a demo reel to ESPN, and it kind of started from there, I'd say, 12 or 13 years ago. So didn't skip any steps to get where I am, and I respect anybody that, that makes it this far too. But obviously if they didn't skip any steps and you kind of worked your way up to the top, and or at least into a better spot in broadcasting. Not easy to do. I got nothing but respect for people that do it that way.
Absolutely, and we all respect you. Visiting with Roy Philpott, how did you develop? Because you weren't a radio guy. You went to Clemson. You didn't major in broadcasting or communications, as you mentioned. You were going off into the computer world. You hadn't done anything, and then you sit down. You do this volleyball game. You get the itch. You know this is what you want to do. How did you develop? Because I really think good play-by-play guys, they have a style. It's a profession. This isn't something that you do, in my opinion. It's not something that you do as a hobby. Good ones, they have a style. They develop their style. You know their style. You have one. How did you develop it?
It's a great question. I mean, I think the easy answer and the low-hanging fruit would be just you remain authentic to who you are. My family, you know me pretty well from back in the day. I can be pretty dramatic, right? That's just kind of in my DNA. I don't know why I'm like that. And so I lean into that. I lean into that when it comes to, having high energy. I lean into that when it comes to being on the air, bringing us, off of college game day to wherever we are that afternoon, and just feeling that excitement and just allowing it to flow through. So, I mean, I've never tried to emulate anybody. I think there are people out there that do those things. I haven't tried to do that. I do listen to others and I admire what they do, and maybe I take a piece here or there, but just being me. And, I pride myself on being low maintenance and having high energy on air. I try to be a joy to work around and bring out the best in, my analysts, whoever I'm working with in that particular day, in that particular sport, and lean into that. But to be honest with you, it's still a work in progress. I go back and listen to myself 5 years ago, and there's some similarities, but I recognize, where I've gotten better and where I can take complete ownership of a moment or a big play or an end of game sequence where maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't have that in the repertoire. I didn't have that in the skill set. So I think that comes with reps. And I tell young broadcasters all the time, it's not really a trade. It's not a skill that you can practice sitting in mom's basement, sitting in your home office. You actually kind of have to do it with live reps. So the more reps you get, I think the better you can speed that process up. But man, I'm still very much a work in progress. And, my hope is, next season, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, God willing, that, I've taken even more strides and that, I'm an even better version of where I am right now, because I do want to get better and get better games and do the whole deal.
Absolutely.
Very humble words from a guy who's a whole lot better than he's giving himself credit for. Roy Philpott joined us here tonight on Sports Talk. And Roy, from a guy who's done radio and then also now doing television, which do you enjoy better? And sort of a two-part question here is, in your mind, would you have preferred to maybe stick with, say, doing Clemson broadcast or South Carolina broadcast, as opposed to doing sort of a national game of the week where you don't necessarily have a team, if you will?
No, I think I could be happy doing a lot of different things. And again, that's one point I try to bang home with anybody that's trying to break into sports. You may think you want to do one thing. I thought I wanted to be a website publisher, with my blog and social media and occasional radio. And then all of a sudden you try something else and you're like, wait a second. No, I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. So you never know which direction life is going to take you. I enjoy the atmosphere, the sound, of a big game, the pressure of a big moment, not only for the teams, but for the broadcasters calling it and having to perform, coming on air and knowing that you've got, 3.5 million people listening to what you're saying, and knowing that if you mess up, it's going to go viral and it's not going to be pretty, and it's going to hang around. It's going to hang around for years, if not the rest of your life. So I like that. I'm probably an adrenaline junkie, so it probably goes along with that, I would argue. But no, I mean, if you'd have told me 10 years ago, you're going to be the play-by-play voice at a major university, and could I be happy doing that? I think so, no matter where it was. But I like where I am, and I have no plans to try to exit out of doing national work for ESPN. Between radio and TV, I don't want to say radio is easier, like in terms of calling games, but there's just a lot of less stuff. There's less reads, there's less promos, there's less meetings. You show up and I'm talking for 2.5, 3 hours, whatever it is, painting the picture, and just going to work. Television, it's I want to say it's more artistic, but man, there's a lot more moving parts and different things you got to work with. So there's advantages to both. I was fortunate enough last year to call a playoff game on ESPN radio. Loved it. Now I got done with it. I could barely talk because I was talking so loud and so much. But either way is good. But I think hopefully I've found a spot on the television side, and just keep doing games that way. It's a ton of fun, man.
There is an interesting exercise that you retweeted on your Twitter page, and it was from West Coast College Sports Guide. It says you get 1 point for every state you've seen a college football game in. You've seen it in 41 different states, which is mind-boggling to me. I think the best I could come up with in my career has been 18 or 19. Which 9 states have you not seen a game in so far?
That's a great question. Weirdly enough, and I think I'm going to cross this one off this year, Arizona is one. Alaska and Hawaii, Vermont and New Hampshire. Like it's kind of tough to get college football or basketball games up there. Football games. I've done basketball in Vermont. I haven't done football in Vermont. So football in Vermont and New Hampshire. Rhode Island was another one. Delaware was one, and Wisconsin. So it ended up being 9. I don't know if that's all 9, but I think I can get Arizona off the list this year. I'm not sure about the other ones because, ESPN doesn't have Big Ten rights right now. So it's tough for me to get into Wisconsin. And then how much college football do you have in New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island, and Delaware? Those are kind of tough spots to get into.
I will say this, and then I'll give it back to Phil. If you get the opportunity to do the Hawaii Bowl, it's well worth the trip.
Yes. Sign me up.
So, Phil, how many states have you seen a college football game in?
Who, me? I'm a regional guy, I'm a regional guy. I've been all around the SEC, the ACC, of course, with the ACC stretching up into Massachusetts. I've been up there, and I'll go to California this year when Clemson goes out there, I guess, and check that off. But not like you guys. I don't get into all the different states like you guys, so that's pretty awesome. Your versatility, you mentioned basketball. You do basketball too, as well as the football on ESPN. What about going from one sport to the other? Do you find it an easy transition to shift from football play-by-play announcer to basketball play-by-play announcer?
I wouldn't use the word easy. I would tell you the hardest time of the year for me is during that crossover and then right after, Phil, because generally speaking, I'll do 5 or 6 basketball games in November and then probably twice that in December. And so then right as football ends is my busiest time of year because in basketball season, you guys know because I've been down there at Colonial Life Arena a bunch the last couple of years doing SEC. I'll do 2 to 3 SEC men's basketball games a week. And so by the time I get to March 1st, you can feel it. Because at that point I've called 45 basketball games, 18 to 20 college football games. Every weekend I've been on the road. And it's you I need a break.
Yeah.
I need a break at that point. And typically I get one right as the NCAA tournament starts. But, yeah, the crossover, it's not so hard to do it technically because basketball is so fast-paced and, it's so different than football. I enjoy that. But in terms of just, making sure you get sleep and rest, by the time I get to early March, you can really feel it. And at that point in time, you just need a couple of weeks off to try to regroup.
All right, let's quit talking about you. Let's talk some football real quick.
Yes.
I said tonight, been thinking about it for a long time. We've been kind of up and down with Clemson. I hate the way people are hammering Dabo Swinney across the country. I don't think they know what they're talking about, if you ask me. I think people closer to the program like we are here in the state know a little bit more than a lot of these people. But anyway, everybody can have an opinion. But I was suggesting tonight that, Clemson could be, because people are so down on them based on their history, they could be the big surprise in the ACC, pick preseason 4th. I think the schedule sets up great for them if they just get the kind of quarterback play that they hope to get and everybody else falls into place. Who knows? It could be something entirely different. What's your take on the Tigers?
They need help at quarterback, Phil. They need something to happen. I'm a big believer in Tate Reynolds. And, I think he looks the part. I think he gives you a physical component that they've been missing. DJ Uiagalelei never provided that with any kind of consistency. Cade Klubnik was a little smaller. I thought he got happy feet. There was a lot of patting of the football. The quarterbacks I've worked with over the years tell me if you're patting the football, ball's coming out late, there's going to be problems. And I thought we saw that with Cade Klubnik. Can Vizina or Reynolds solve that? If the answer is yes, then there's enough talent on both sides of the ball with the return of Chad Morris to where they're a factor again. I just don't know that you can say that confidently when for the last 5 years you've had disappointing play at that position. So I do think Chad can get a lot out of either one of those guys. I do think you're going to see Tate Reynolds at some point. I don't know when. Maybe it's by that Miami game in early October. But if you don't, then that means Vizina has performed well. And look, that means they will be a factor. So there's talent around those guys. There's coaching around those guys. I need to see it at that position before I would buy in fully to what's happening there. And look, LSU week 1 against Blake Baker's defense, that's going to tell Clemson fans, I think, a ton about what to expect this year.
Absolutely. Would you pick Lane Kiffin over Dabo Swinney if you had to pick a coach?
No, I wouldn't. And look, Lane hasn't won a conference championship last time I checked. Now, he got Ole Miss to the playoff, and then he bolted. So, I mean, he can develop offenses. He can develop quarterbacks. He needs a healthy quarterback. He needs Sam Levitt to stay healthy this year, and I think that's vital for LSU, including in week 1. But, no, people have forgotten how good Dabo has been. Now he's got to show it again, and I think he's as chippy as ever, and I think he can show it again. But, again, he's got to find quarterback play. I'm looking at that position, Corn. That's the one that really is just going to determine, I think, everything for Clemson this year.
Absolutely. Your take on South Carolina, they have a quarterback.
Yeah, they do. I saw him up close and in person 2 years ago calling the Clemson-South Carolina game, and I've never seen a quarterback play at that level given what Lenora Sellers did and remain impressed with him. The difference with him this year is he's got a competent offensive play caller. No offense, Shane Beamer, but Kendall Briles coming in, worked many Kendall Briles games in the past going back to his time at Arkansas and at TCU. They will have an identity. The ball will come out quick. And I think South Carolina is going to be vastly improved. They're going back to a bowl game. They're going to be a factor in November, probably sitting right around the 8-win mark. And I think Sellers is going to dazzle again. But, man, when you have that guy, and then you brought in the help that you did on the offensive line and an offensive coordinator with Kendall Briles, I mean, by default, you're going to be exponentially better and win more games. And I think that's where Carolina is right now.
Agree with you. A couple of really quick personal questions. What was your longest field goal at AC Flora?
In a game, 44. In practice, 53.
53?
Wow. Committed to memory.
Yeah. Wow. Who was the last recruit you called when you were covering recruiting?
Ooh, man, that's a good one. The last recruit. That would have been. Let's see.
Where you actually picked up the phone and dialed the number.
Called them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Holy moly! So 2015. I had stopped calling prospects then. I want to say maybe a Desmond Brown out of Alabama, maybe 2010, 2011, who ended up coming to Clemson as a safety, and I think he was there a couple of years. No. Let's see. I did a Todd Gurley press conference, so I talked with him a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I may go Todd Gurley. That may be one of the last
Todd
ones.
Gurley. Yeah, didn't get him. Got a text message here. My name is Andre Williams. Roy was a teammate. Roy was a teammate of mine at AC Flora. I want to say congratulations to you from your buddy Andre Williams.
Yeah. Dre, my friend, I tell the story all the time. This was the biggest guy on our football team. Corn, he was 6'5", 240. And you know how not big I am. And our coach, I think it was our offensive coordinator, Coach Eubanks, called a crackback block with me as a flanker, having to crack back down on Dre at 6'4", 6'5", 240. And I did it scared out of my mind. And I tried to crack back block, blindside him because that was legal at AC Flora. It was legal in high school ball back then. I tried to crack back, and I just bounced off of him. I ricocheted, and Dre looked at me like a gnat just hit him on the side and started laughing. He's like, I'm going to get you on senior hit day. I've never been so scared in my life. But, no, Dre was great. We had some great moments and some great times back at AC Flora. We didn't win a bunch of games, Corin, but, man, all those guys, I remember every single one of them, have a story about every single one, and that makes my day hearing from Andre Williams. That's awesome.
Absolutely, my friend. What is your first game? Do you have your assignment?
I don't. We're going to get it Friday. I think we're either at Texas for their opener, or we're at we have the UCLA Cal game. I think it's one of those two, but I don't know. And there's always a surprise week 1, so I may be talking out of my you-know-what when I say it. But we find out Friday. And believe me when I tell you, everybody at ESPN, you're always on pins and needles waiting to find out where that first game is so you can get just cranked up and ready to go.
Well, you have a great season. We thank you for the time. Great visiting
Thanks,
with
Roy.
you. And maybe we'll hit you up during the season.
Gentlemen, anytime. Happy to do it. Good to talk to you guys.
You too. Thank you very much. That's Roy Philpott from ESPN. But
You get the sense he believes Tate Reynolds could possibly start the LSU game?
I think he thinks he's going to be a big player for Clemson, and I like his optimism too. All right, recruiting. We'll do recruiting coming up.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
I think music is a kind of magic. As a therapist, I have seen what music can do. It gives you insight into kind of what's going on in their head, in their life, in their world. Because of my lottery-funded life scholarship, I was able to go to school and turn my passion for music into a career that helps others. And that is pretty magical too.
Better support means a better South Carolina, and a better South Carolina means a better you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, let's get to recruiting. It is brought to you by Seawell's. I bet you Roy had a Seawell's dinner a time or two when he was in Columbia. Seawell's Catering, SC.com. That's where to go to find out all about their great catering business. Phone number 803-771-7385. Let Seawell's handle your special event with their special services that they've had for nearly 80 years. They'll come to you or host at their location. Clemson tight ends coach Kyle Richardson looking at 2028 tight end Wright Martin, 6'2", 250. They've already offered. He is the son of Engel Martin, the former Furman quarterback. He's been to Clemson previously. Was at the Furman game last fall, camped there this summer, so he's getting a good look at Clemson. Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, Virginia, Maryland, they've also offered him. He is viewing Clemson as a serious contender, always has. And he plans to get back on campus for the Georgia Southern game and also the Miami game in October. Also, Clemson target 2028 safety Isaiah Reeves has decided not to announce his commitment on Sunday. He did not have Clemson among his final choices when he originally scheduled his commitment for this weekend, but he does have a visit planned for the North Carolina game on September 19th. So by not making a commitment, it keeps things open for him to get to Clemson and make that visit and keep the Tigers alive in his recruiting. And South Carolina is currently one of the favorites with 2028 receiver Zion Robinson of Powder Springs, Georgia. He also likes Tennessee, Missouri, Florida, and Ole Miss. That'll do it for recruiting. Stay tuned. We have SC Wild with the Major Billy Downer coming up You want to stay with us for that. That'll be right around the corner. Be right back.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Look for cloudy skies this evening. Rain is a possibility. The low dips down to 74. Tomorrow's just like today. More clouds than sunshine. Muggy with a high of 91. We have that continuing 40% chance we get afternoon and early evening storms. Friday and Saturday about the same. Highs in the low 90s. Afternoon rain possible each day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Palmetto State Armory is Columbia's premier suppressor dealer, and for a limited time only is proud to offer 20% off all suppressors. Stop in today and explore our expansive selection of suppressors from the industry's top brands. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff is here to help walk you through the suppressor buying process, from selecting the right suppressor to filling out the paperwork. Stop in today, find the right suppressor for you, and save big, only at your local Palmetto State Armory.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Iran and Oman have moved closer to an agreement on the Strait of Hormuz. This comes after President Trump said a deal to reopen the critical waterway would be announced soon. The strait's closure has driven up global fuel prices. Meanwhile, new tensions have emerged in Lebanon as the Israeli military issued the first evacuation warning in weeks for some residents in the south. Abdul El-Sayed has won Michigan's Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate in a victory for the party's leftist progressive wing in a battleground state. El-Sayed narrowly defeated Congresswoman Haley Stevens and will face Republican Mike Rogers in November. The seat is pivotal to Democrats' chance of flipping the Senate. On Wall Street, the Dow by 263 points, the S&P lower by 12. More details at srnnews.com.
I don't know how many years it's been that Bergen Roofing has been known as your neighborhood roofer. I think when Stuart started using that phrase, it was for obvious reasons. This is a guy that'll see you at the store, at church, or maybe even sponsored your kid's baseball team. Your neighborhood roofer. Think about that. It's never been more important than now. See, a lot of the roofers you hear about, well, they're now owned by major national or even international companies. You say, who cares as long as they give me a best price and they show up and do my roof? Really, I want you to think about this. If Bergen Roofing repairs or replaces your roof, they'll be here to back up their work. That's why Stuart and his team, well, they won't ask for any money up front, and they won't take a payment until they finish the job and you're completely satisfied. Because Stuart isn't afraid to see you out at church or at a restaurant or a game. He's the best in the business, and I know. He's done my roof. He's even done the money coach's roof. Bergen Roofing is your neighborhood roofer, and that does matter. Call Bergen Roofing today, 798-ROOF. That's 798-ROOF.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
Do you think you're stuck with rising insurance rates? Whoa, think again. I'm David Jolly with South Carolina Insurance Brokers. Most people stay with the big names because they think that's the only way to save. But as an independent insurance agent, I have a secret weapon. That weapon's options. I compare rates from dozens of top-rated companies at once. My clients often save hundreds a year just by letting me do the shopping for them. Same local face, just a much better price. Stop overpaying. Give me a call at 803-380-8877. I'm David Jolly. When you think of insurance, I ask that you think of me.
How does a car repair shop last in business for over 50 years like Sudeth Automotive? By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. But if you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs, well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials. Isn't it time you become a customer? Call or come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue or make an appointment at SudethAuto.com.
South Carolina summers are hot and humid.
and hard on your air conditioner. When your home stops feeling comfortable, call Sweet Comfort Services. We're family owned and operated with over 30 years of heating and air experience. From service and maintenance to complete system replacement, we're here to keep your family cool. We'll even meet or beat any quote from a licensed competitor. Schedule your appointment online at sweethvac.com or call 803-331-8143. Sweet Comfort Services, comfort you can count on.
It's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to answer your questions about the great outdoors. Call in now at 888-898-2525 and join SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, it is time here on Sports Talk for another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources. We welcome into the program once again the Major, Billy Downer. If you want to communicate with the Major with a question or a comment related to the great outdoors, maybe it's something in the hunting world or fishing or boating, any of that, phone number 888-898-2525. You can also send us a text message at 803-900-4847. Let's welcome in now once again the Major, Billy Downer, who will be sharing some important and big information with us tonight at his leisure. Major?
At my leisure.
Welcome
Thank
in.
you, Phil, for comfortably laying that out for me.
Yes, sir.
Just kind of slowly rolling that out.
Yes.
I guess it's one of those moments you don't know what to say. So on September 2nd of this year, I will be officially retired from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, marking just under 29 years of service.
Wow.
As a game warden in the state.
Wow.
And with that, I will be passing the torch, the baton, the shotgun shell, if you will, to another officer to do the show. I've worked with this officer for a long time. His name is Mark Farrell. For those who may know him, he is a great coordinator for our Take One, Make One program. He is an avid hunter and across the board all around the United States in South Carolina. And he's got a great personality, and he loves to talk about and tell stories. So he's going to be a great segue into another chapter of SC Wild. So, with that said, this chapter of SC Wild will be slowly coming to a close on the next segment in 2 weeks, and we'll introduce Mark on that segment. This has been a little bittersweet for me, looking back on, like I said, almost 29 years of service, thinking of how I started in January 2nd of 1998, went to the academy and started in Clarendon County out of Manning, South Carolina. Got to serve the great people of Clarendon County for several years before we could kind of combine with Sumter County. We worked Sumter and Clarendon together a little bit for a while before I went to education in 2006 and became the lieutenant over hunter education in 2009, promoted to captain around 2012, and then promoted to major in 2018. And 8 years later, I've decided it's time to retire. There's got a good plan for me as I retire and enjoy some time doing more of the Africa hunts like I did this past year. Really enjoyed that. But time to pass the baton on to the next generation to take over. And, that's hard to do sometimes. And I talked to several people and said, look, at some point in your career, you've got to look back and go, you know what? I'm really proud of what I've done. And I'm happy if I retire where I'm at. And when you get to that point, you realize, you know what? You've done a lot. And looking back on the impact you've been able to make in the state, starting off in the field, and it's not all about writing tickets and chasing people and scaring people to death. I mean, that's the fun thing to begin with, the gotcha moment. And I will share a few of those stories tonight of just, everybody wants to hear the good game warden story. And I thought tonight we might share a few of those memories for me, the ones I remember the most. But certainly would be without it would go without saying that I need to share some moments that I've shared with you, Phil, from the first times in the Behringer building up there on what floor was that?
Up on the second floor. Let me tell you.
But that wasn't the first time. The first time I was on your show, if you remember, was when you were facing the State House over there on Gervais Street.
Yes. Those beautiful studios that Learfield built for us right on Gervais Street. You know, I remember when they came to me and they said, salespeople being salespeople, they're out there selling ideas and programs and stuff. And they came to me. I believe our salesman's name was Mark. Is that right? Gosh. It's been so long. But anyway, they came and they said, hey, you're going to host a bi-weekly hunting and fishing show. And I said, what? And I said, what? I said, I don't hunt and I don't fish and I don't boat. I mean, I love the outdoors, but I'm not active. I don't know anything. He said, well, the gentleman you'll be working with will be the guy. You just have to steer the boat, so to speak, and stay out of the way. And, man, has that proven to be the case, because you have done a phenomenal job. When I think of DNR, and I'm sure people around the state who listen to this program and maybe in other ways as well, Major, when I think of DNR, I think of you. Your voice is the voice of DNR.
I appreciate that. I was looking back, Phil. You know, we've done this. This is our 11th season.
Yeah.
We started in 2015. That's hard to believe.
It is.
11 years ago. And people still listen.
We haven't chased them off.
They still listen. But yeah, and I hope that it will get even better as I pass this to Mark. But yeah, I just think back to those shows and different things, and beginning with you talking about your shooting experience and Latta.
Yeah. When the guy gave me a shotgun and said, "Oh, make sure you put this thing on your shoulder."
On the tennis court.
Yeah.
And that's where your history began until you met me.
Yeah.
So,
he said, this thing has no kickback. This thing won't kick back. Just put it around your shoulder. Almost broke my daggone shoulder.
You're on the ground. What had just happened to me?
Oh, but I mean, I've learned, personally for me, listening to you, and I think you can recognize this because I can actually kind of have a conversation with you. I've learned so much about hunting and fishing and boating, and because I'm terrible at all that, I've learned so much about the ins and outs.
It's not just killing deer with the car, Phil. It's
no, it's not. I've got two. I've bagged 2 deer. I've bagged 2 deer with the front of my car. But that doesn't count, does it? You don't get any credit for that.
No, but we'll give you half credit.
I did not pull out my my ruler and measure their horns. Okay, I didn't go from tip to tip to measure them.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I will always remember the alligator and shark shows. Because those are most of the favorite ones. And for me, thinking back, explaining to you about alligators, and you always bringing another alligator story up from somewhere. I'm going to ask you this, Phil, for the folks that are listening.
Yeah.
What is one of your favorite memories or shows we did?
Oh, no question. Since you brought that up, we've done so many. I enjoyed the shows that we did over at the over in Sumter. This isn't my favorite, but remember we did the show maybe 1 or 2 times at Sumter at the
archery tournament.
Bow and arrow, the bow and arrow, the archery tournament.
That's right.
That was a ton of fun watching those kids shoot those arrows. That was a ton of fun. Probably the one that stands out to me was the night in the Behringer building, which unannounced to us, you come walking in with cooking gear.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
And while we're doing sports talk, you proceed to cook up stuff, including alligator. You did deep fried alligator nuggets.
I did.
And you brought it into the studio when SC Wild started, and you made us eat, or you made me eat it.
I remember that.
And what else did you make? You made something else you had
dove.
You had dove wrapped in bacon.
I cooked those on the grill out in the street.
Yes.
And then I came in and I had to fry with a fry daddy in the building inside the studio. Yeah. And the whole time I'm worrying, please, Lord, don't let the fire alarm go off.
But you had me actually eat alligator nuggets, and you said
I
eat
did.
it. It tastes just like chicken. And
That's
I
right.
ate one, and you said, what did it taste like? I said, well, it tastes like chicken.
Tastes like chicken.
It tastes
Yeah.
like chicken. I had to close my mind off, and like, this is not alligator. This is not alligator. This is a clucker. It's not an eater. It's not something that's going to eat you. It's something that's going to cluck at you. And the dove was good. I actually enjoyed the dove. So that might have been one of my favorite nights, if not the favorite night, to see you come in, not telling us in advance, just having a plan to cook and then eat it right there on the air. That was pretty awesome. I got a couple of text messages as they're rolling in for you, Major. So let's do this, and we'll continue. If you have a text message for the Major, hit us up, 803-900-4847. First of all, this is from the 843. Thank you for your service, Major. And now a question. Can you bait deer just for watching deer out of your kitchen window or back porch?
Always. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with putting corn out or something out for deer to eat, salt lick, a mineral block. Nothing against the law about doing that.
Okay.
Just remember, if you bring them in closer, they may decide to eat your azaleas too. So,
well, can you shoot them then?
Not in the city limits, no.
Okay.
But that may develop more questions. But absolutely.
Okay. Let's see. Another text message for you, and this is from the 803. Congratulations, Major Downer. Enjoyed your part of the show. Have a great retirement. From over in the 803 area. You're going to get a lot of that now over the next 3 weeks when you walk around and talk to people for sure. We got a phone call here. Let's go to Steve in Augusta. Okay, Steve, welcome in. You're on SC Wild with Major Downer.
Hey, hello, guys. Steve.
I just want to send the congratulations to the Major on his retirement. I will say that I'm going to miss him. Even though I live in Georgia, I work with a lot of people that are over in Aiken County, and they constantly ask me, she said, what did the Major say bi-weekly about hunting season and all? And I said, well, dadgummit, you're going to have to start listening. So
yeah.
So anyway,
we appreciate you being. I appreciate you being a faithful listener.
Well, I wish you the best, and it is a pleasure to get to hear your insight on everything, the sharks and the alligators and all that kind of stuff. But this particular guy today was asking about the turkey situation, and I was able to explain it to him because I heard it from you. So thank y'all for what you provide.
Well, yes, sir. We're going to continue to do our best to give you good information. So, we are, just for instance, for a moment, to keep on the show as far as where we need to be, we are doing public meetings for deer hunting, and the third and final one will be in Walterboro, and that is coming up. Make sure I get my dates right. It may be right here. Yeah, the deer meetings for Monday, August 10th in Walterboro, and that is at Faith Church in Walterboro. I think they moved it to a larger venue because the crowds have been so large at the Florence and the Orangeburg meetings. So it's at Faith Church in Walterboro, South Carolina, 848 Bells Highway. So if you have a concern about, and this is mainly getting public comment about deer hunting with dogs, it's not about stopping dog hunting, it's getting public comment. And so a lot of dog hunters have been showing up and have been, giving their opinions, and a lot of them are there with the opinion that DNR is trying to take dog hunting. That's not what it's about at all. Our board simply asked us to do these meetings, and we have to kind of do what the board says. So we're doing the meetings to get information, concerns regarding deer hunting with dogs in South Carolina. So Walterboro is the last of these meetings.
And what is the concern over using dogs in deer hunting?
as we've talked about over the years, Phil, there's always there's always disagreement between dog hunters and still hunters or landowners sometimes, because dogs will cross property lines. And people, first thing they'll tell you is, well, I can't control my dog. Well, that's a good point. That's a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's not as true anymore, because there are collars and things out there, the devices have gotten so good, they can actually tone that dog with a button and get that dog to stop. And they can make him turn around. Good dogs can. So it's a different game today. But just free range and letting dogs go and run across somebody's property that's not yours, that you don't have permission to hunt, is not ethical. It may be legal, but it's not ethical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a question we've faced for many years, and I'm not going to dive down into that tonight, because I don't ever want to be against any type of hunting, because hunting's got enough people against it. 5% of the state hunts, 5% hates hunting, and the 90% of the state that doesn't care is what matters. But as soon as that landowner is part of that 90% and they don't like dogs running across their property, so they can't enjoy peace and quiet, that's a problem for all of us. So we got to be thinking about that now. And this meeting's just talking about some concerns and ideas of how we could potentially make it better so that dog hunting can continue for years to come. So anyway, that's what it's about. I'll leave it at that for now. Thinking of memories, and folks always want to know, tell me a good game warden story. Well, there's always the fun pop out the woods and type stories I'll tell you. But one of the things I will always cherish the most about my DNR experience is I love this department because of the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
The people that I've met, that I've worked with across divisions, whether it was in the game wardens I've worked with across the state, and I've had the pleasure of working in a lot of waterways in a lot of areas across the state, or wildlife biologists, technicians, help banding ducks with them. The great Bill Mahan and Dave Bauman were some of my biggest mentors, and they were in the wildlife section. Dave Bauman brought the turkey back to South Carolina. I mean, he was the guy that did it for years.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Mahan worked in Berkeley County, and he was at the down there in Bono, and he did a lot of work. He was the person responsible for creating the Hickory Top waterfowl area that we have today. I walked that area with him trying to plan that out. So I got to be a part. That was really cool. And people don't realize that these people do these kind of work. These regular guys that work at DNR help these ideas to become reality. And so we've got this Hickory Top Green Tree Reservoir that Bill Mahan started, and he created it. And he's why it happened. And people don't know that. But I got to, a lot of good friends, even in graphics, personnel. I mean, I know people across the board. Been a lot of great relationships at DNR, and that's what I'll always take with me. But as far as stories, and I've told this many times, one of my favorite stories is the guys we work with in Clarendon County. There was a couple times that we just, waterfowl hunting's been my favorite to work. I just enjoy being out there in the water. And there was one particular season I could not catch people shooting late on one of the swamps here between Sumter and Clarendon County. And I'd be out there, and you go out at night and you listen, late afternoon, and you listen for shots. Pop, 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 boom. Then you try to get closer to them, find out where they're shooting. Well,
is this because they're shooting? Is this because they're shooting after the?
They're shooting after legal time.
After legal time, okay.
So you remember, legal time to shoot ducks is from sunrise, 30 minutes before sunrise, until sunset.
Yep.
And official sunset is not dark. She's got 30 more minutes, but they start shooting. And I'm chasing up and down trying to find them. And for a whole season, I went up and down the swamp trying to find them. And it was the last day of duck season this year. And there was a big waterfowl banquet in Manning, and everybody was going to it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go out one more time and listen for these shots. Maybe they'll shoot the last night. And everybody else went to the banquet. So I'm out by myself. And I'm riding up. I go and I sit at the bridge and I start hearing the shooting. I said, dang it, they're shooting tonight. And I start riding up and down the road trying to figure out how to get to where they are. Because it's a long swamp with nothing but private property between the road and there. And I could not figure out where they were. So I literally started going to houses and knocking on the door. I said, hey, do y'all know of a landing back here? And I went to one and they said, no, but you can go next door. I think they have a landing back there. And And I go on the door, and I talk to the guy, and I'm like, is there a landing back there? And he put his head down. And that's a sure sign of somebody's fixing to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what you got? He goes, yeah, we got a landing back there, and it's probably my brother, but don't tell him I told you. Yeah, I said, how do you get back there? Drive down this road, take a right. Anyway, I ease back there, and I see the truck or the trailer, and I get there, and they still steady shooting. And I'm like just getting fired up, and it gets pitch black dark. And I hear a motor start up, and there got a go devil in the middle of the swamp, and they they hitting stumps, and they getting closer, and I'm standing in the bushes, and they pull up, and cut the motor, and the boat just slides up right beside me, and I'm in the dark, they can't see me, and I hear them fumbling around the boat, they talking, they start throwing ducks out the boat, and I just clicked. Back then we had the old mag light. I clicked that mag light, and I said, wildlife officer, and you could have heard a pin drop.
Oh my gosh! Isn't that dangerous? Isn't that
they're
dangerous?
Like, I said, guys, before you start, let me just go ahead and say something right now. We all know you've been shooting late. I've been sitting here listening to you. I know you're shooting late. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way.
Oh.
So right now, what I'm going to tell you is, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I need you to be honest. If you're honest with me, I will help you. If you're not honest, I'm going to do my job. Y'all understand? Yes, sir. All right. I said, so I looked at the ducks, and there wasn't a whole lot of ducks in the boat, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm sitting there, I said, all right, I need to see your guns and your shells. If you'll go ahead and put those out. And the guy said, you said, be honest, right? I said, yeah. I said, how about your license? He goes, you said, be honest, right? I said, yeah. He said, I don't have a duck stamp. I said, okay.
Oh.
How about you? The other guy goes, yeah, I got my duck stamp. I said, all right. How about your guns? I need to see your plugs. You said, to be honest, right? I said, yeah. I said, we ain't got no plug on our guns. I'm just sitting there going, you got to be kidding me. I said, how about your shells? Where's your shells at? You said, be honest. I said, yeah. He said, we ain't got no steel shot either. We got lead shot. I'm going, inside of my body, I'm just going, yes, yes, yeah. You're just a game warden going, this is my night. This is it.
Uh-huh.
This is what you've trained for. No, anyway. And you end up having an opportunity to show grace to people. And I did. As I told them, I said, you write them 2 tickets and the rest of it's warnings. But it was just one of those moments. I worked for a whole season to catch these people.
Yeah.
And you catch them and you're like, I got them. And just being in the bushes and you cut that light on and wildlife officer and you're like, here we go. This is it.
But weren't you worried? I mean, like, what if you run across a knucklehead that's like, gun happy? He might pull his gun on you.
Well, there's plenty of those. Night hunting is always, night hunting was always the one you worry about because you're stopping somebody at night. If you're stopping them for night hunting, you already believe they got a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So you know they got a high-power rifle. And if they turn that on you, it's not going to stop anything you're wearing. It's not going to stop that bullet. And our officers today were hoping to get better vests. They have plates in them, but we didn't have those back then. We just really started getting vests back in the late 90s. But anyway, but those were the stops you worry about the most. But, duck hunting again, there are some other duck hunts I can think about. Just, you're out there, and we caught 22 people in 2 nights on the lake back out toward, not Pax Flat, but out in that Elliott Flat area, Hamburger Island, out there in what we call the duck pond between the river and Elliott Flat. We caught 22 people in 2 nights shooting wood ducks late. And the first night, I literally was set up in a boat 20 feet from a group hunting. And there was a big thing of grass between me and them. And I'm sitting there and I realized they're there and I'm like, uh-oh. So I took my paddle and I banged it around the boat like I was trying to hunt. And they go to shooting and they're shooting and shooting and shooting. And I'm going, holy cow. I mean, they're literally 20 feet away.
All right, hang on.
And then,
let me give you, I got a couple of quick text messages here for you.
Sure.
This is from Russell in the 864. Congratulations on your retirement, Major Downer. I've enjoyed hearing you on this segment over the years. Thank you for your service. This is from the 843. Did the Major ever work with Crazy Tail Charles Caldwell? Man, he busted my tail.
I did know Charles Caldwell. I sure did. A lot of good people. But, hey, we'll continue this next time.
Yep.
We'll introduce Mark Farrell. But thanks again for a great 11 seasons, and we'll do it again one more night.
Absolutely. And thank you, Major. Glad we got you around for one more edition of SC Wild in a couple of weeks. Congratulations on your pending retirement. We're retiring for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.